This episode is about the number 7 team on the Juggernaut Index, the Houston Texans. If last season proved nothing else about the Houston Texans, let's hope you're at least convinced that this team has a legitimate star at quarterback, the sort of passer who can lead an elite offense. In 2009, Matt Schaub posted the 6th highest passing yards total in NFL history. The only quarterbacks who've thrown for more than 4,770 yards in a single season are Dan Marino, Drew Brees, Kurt Warner, Tom Brady, and Dan Fouts. That's a pretty good list of passers, and Schaub's name is next. Last year, he also established new career highs in completion percentage, 67.9, yards per attempt, 8.2, and passing touchdowns with 29. As far as I'm concerned, it's settled law. Schaub is great. He's an early round fantasy asset, a guy you'll need to select among your top 6 quarterbacks on draft day. And please, stop calling the guy injury prone. When he actually missed time due to injury in the past, it's generally been the result of a late, cheap hit that was penalized and or fined. Jared Allen, Drayton Florence, and Albert Haynesworth were the offending pass rushers. These have not been freak injuries. They don't raise any questions about Schaub's durability. In fact, he played in all 16 games last season, and he returned to the field in Week 13 after dislocating his non-throwing shoulder. Schaub is certainly tough enough for your imaginary football team. Draft and enjoy. Andre Johnson is also clearly good enough for any roster, although you probably won't have the opportunity to draft him unless you have a top 7 selection. When the first tier of running backs is off the board, Johnson is the clear play. He's coming off of back-to-back 100-catch, 1,500-yard seasons, and he's led the NFL in receiving yards each of the past 2 years. The Yahoo Fantasy team is rarely in total agreement on anything, but we're in lockstep with Johnson. We all consider him to be the top wide receiver on the cheat sheet, and we'd all draft him at pick number 7 in a standard league. Fantasy ranks are rarely this simple. The number 2 option in Houston's passing attack is tight end Owen Daniels, assuming he's healthy and recovered from ACL surgery in November. We know he's cleared to play, and his knee ligaments have received a stamp of approval from no less of an authority than Dr. James Andrews. There are reasons to be bullish. Daniels is the 8th tight end taken in recent mocks, and he's the number 3 per game scorer at his position last year, so the draft day price tag isn't too scary. Entering his 4th NFL season, Jacoby Jones is finally starting to challenge Kevin Walter for targets in Houston. Jones flashed all kinds of big playability last year, crossing the goal line 6 times on just 27 receptions. In this offense, you really shouldn't fret too much about which receiver is the starter and which guy is the number 3. Jones has the upside and greater touchdown potential. Walter is the safer bet, 50-plus catches. And he also has a new 5-year deal loaded with guaranteed money. Here's head coach Gary Kubiak discussing the receiver corps. Kubiak considers Jones to be the team's number 3 receiver at this point, with an important qualifier, and I quote, "He's been competing with Kevin and has been very competitive, but they've both done their job. I think we have 3 starters in my opinion, and they're going to be on the field plenty." The Texans had the NFL's top-ranked passing offense in 2009, so they should be able to deliver multiple fantasy wideouts. David Anderson, not Andre Davis, looks like the number 4 receiver at the moment. Arian Foster has locked up the feature role in Houston's backfield, and his combination of size, 6'1", 227, and all-purpose ability has forced Steve Slayton into a supporting role. If the Texans need a critical game-changing fumble, they'll call your number 20. Stay ready. Foster closed the 2009 season in style, rushing for 97 yards and a touchdown on 19 carries in Week 16 at Miami, then totaling 119 yards and 2 touchdowns in Week 17 versus New England. He remains a draft day steal, however, because he doesn't get top billing in any of the fantasy preview magazines. We all thought rookie second-rounder Ben Tate was the guy to own back when the mags were written, but Tate will miss the season due to a fractured ankle, and Foster has gained an early lead in camp anyway. Houston's new offensive coordinator, Rick Dennison, is another member of the Shanahan coaching tree. He teamed with Kubiak in Denver, where he coached the O-line, specializing in zone blocking principles. There's hope for this running game, and the stats will tilt heavily towards Foster. Houston's defense has a few nice individual pieces that could assist an IDP roster, beginning with the elite assets Mario Williams, D'Amico Ryans, and Bernard Pollard. Linebacker Brian Cushing is clearly a top-tier player as well, but he'll be on the shelf for the first 4 games of the season due to a fertility drug-related suspension. It hardly seemed possible that they can have 4 top-shelf IDPs, yet only have the number 15 team defense. That's how we ranked them, though. This unit seems like a strong candidate to outperform expectations, but we never really know with defenses. Okay, Tex, there it is. You're allowed 500 words in your rebuttal.